I'm a star. Collaborate and listen. Is back with my brand new invention. Then grabs a hold of me tightly, like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the light and I'll glow to the extreme. I rock a mic like a vandal, light up a stage and watch it jump like a candle. Nice, nice, baby.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and
Ice
Carter
Ice
Show.
Baby reimagined here live in the Atzenhofer studio. Anything goes. Anything goes on a Caldo Wednesday.
Yeah.
Glad to have you in. The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks. Not good folks. Great folks. At A.T. Deerland Feed, for over 50 years, the little gin that could has helped farmers, ranchers, and everyday ignorant lay people like me have beautiful yards,
Healthy chickens.
healthy chickens, no fleas, no weeds. You just go in and they've got it. 32 degrees in Victoria, Texas, under clear skies, heading to a high today of only 59. Poxitani Phil may come out. So people are love or hate on the movie Groundhog Day? You love or hate? Never like, no, it was okay.
Just could never get into it.
Okay, all right.
Never could.
It is a thinking man's movie. I'll go with that. No, I think it's Bill Murray's finest work. Although he did some fairly serious dramatic roles when he got too old to be pratfallish.
Yeah.
But he is great in that movie because you know a lot of it was improvised when he allows the groundhog to drive the Chevy pickup off into the quarry. He's like, I'm a god. I'm not the god. I'm just a god. I keep coming back to life.
Just couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
No, tried it several times. Just could never get into it.
He kept trying to get through the entire day and see, what was her name? Pretty girl, brunette. You can see her.
Andie MacDowell.
And all the times, and every day, you know, he would get to a little further into the day, and then she would slap him, and then he collected all these things about her. He knew he goes, I bet you'll have a so-and-so. Like on some days he just gave up. Yeah, of course you'll have a martini. You know, he just gave up. She slapped him and left. He had nothing left.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know why.
Some days I feel like my life is Groundhog Day. Same thing, different day.
No, different three on the podium. Scott Tomko, Mark Kurtz, Scott Snow this morning.
Three good ones, though. Good morning.
Randy
Mark
Langston
Kurtz,
just missing out.
Bobby Leister, Greg Garcia, Ricky King, Jordan Glass. Where are the women? Patrick Strauss. There's Crystal Mapp. Good morning, friend.
Marvin Mickish.
Kathleen Leiniger. Kathleen, big lineup. I want to give a special shout out to Kathleen Leiniger. We have two exquisite guests today, one of which I was introduced to, Allison Fox, because of Kathleen Leiniger. Really appreciate her being so faithful and supporter of the program. She does a great job just being there. There's Brent Anderson. Hello, Rena Shear.
Andrew Alvarez, Scott Tomko. There's
Allison Fox checking
Stephanie
in.
Connie, David Glass, Linda Christ, Melissa Hanson, Tammy Williams.
Hello, Melissa Hanson. One thing we can do is there's Dana Moore de la Garza.
Garza.
By the way, hats off again to Ricky de la Garza being
Dana's better half.
Yeah. He is Dana Moore de la Garza's, husband. That's right. He is. He, them, they, Ricky D. 50 years as a licensed or recognized paramedic. That's awesome.
That is.
And
That's a life. That's practically a lifetime.
that's that Canadian
That's
math.
Canadian math.
That's like 75 years in Canada.
66.
Well,
maybe.
in Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
it's like 75
Newfoundland,
because it's
yeah.
1.5.
78.
There's Tommy Kingston.
Lisa Poole, good morning.
What a great group of friends, great group of folks. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to be joined now. Are we? How do we know? It'll just pop up
right there. Yep.
Okay, I'm very excited about that. David Ballard, good morning.
Michelle
So we're
Hawkins.
going to be joined by Aaron Reitz. And Reitz, I'm going to ask him exactly what his current role is. When Donald Trump was reelected in 24, Aaron Reitz was appointed to the Department of Justice and worked, maybe still works, underneath Pam Bondi. But he also was an assistant attorney general under Ken Paxton. So I don't know, and I think he's been endorsed by Kim. We're going to get all of that ferreted out for you. And I'm going to ask him some questions about his opposition. I think there's a lady named Joan Huff. I think that's her name. She's a former judge in Harris County. Big red flag for me. If you're a judge in Harris County, flag. But she is a Republican, which means she's only kind of liberal.
Kind of.
If she's a judge, if she's a lawyer, she's liberal. It's just the way it is. You don't ever find a hardcore right-wing attorney, mostly because they can read. I mean, being honest. You want a liberal judge.
She's from Huffman, according to Kathleen Leininger.
Or is she Joan Huffman?
There, that might be it. Yeah.
I do not know.
Yeah.
Kathleen
Might be Huffman.
Limited
Probably.
information.
Huffman
I bet her
from
name is
Huffman.
Huffman.
Do we delve into what's going on in Minneapolis real quickly, or do we just stay away?
If it's quick, I don't know. Has anybody heard? Now, I've heard two stories, and I'm not saying that these have any real relevance on what happened to Alex Pretty, but I was told that Alex Pretty had, at the very least, been in another confrontation with ICE agents prior to when he decided to get himself shot, and that he had multiple magazines on his person with his Second Right Amendment that he was toting.
And no ID on him. I think
there's no law says you got to have an ID.
No, but I think NBC was reporting yesterday. It was one of the major news outlets that he had a incident a week or two prior in which he had a broken rib as a result of that. I'm wondering if he wasn't hell-bent on exacting some revenge on some ICE agents for damage inflicted the last time.
Well, it does make you wonder. And by the way, again,
yeah.
How many of you, liberal as you want to be, how many of you have ever been injured in a peaceful protest? How many of you, your rights end. You can stand on the curb, you can hold a sign, you can assemble peacefully, you can have a bullhorn and yell chants, none of which change any policy, but they're cute and they make you feel good. How many of you have ever been injured doing that? You don't get injured doing that. You get injured in a confrontation with a heavily armed, body armored ICE agent who's been trained to bust you up. So it makes you wonder. What's so sad is no matter what the real truth is, it doesn't matter. The left blames all of this directly on Donald Trump. They refuse to acknowledge any involvement or responsibility to Timmy Waltz or the mayor of Minneapolis. It's not their fault.
Waltz and Fry, in my opinion, are obstructing justice.
Absolutely. Systemically. That's what they're trying to do. Yeah.
Like it or not, Donald Trump and the executive branch have a right and obligation to carry out our immigration laws and enforce our immigration laws. And that's what they don't like.
And if you...
Here's the other issue, too.
Scott Snow says, I tweaked my back reaching for a Q-tip.
These peaceful protests are now infringing on the rights of every other law-abiding, wanting to go about their own life on the daily Minnesotans, eh?
But it's fascism, right? Because that's what it's got to be, because because Hitler was charismatic, because Hitler said what he wanted, because it's Hitler. Donald Trump is Hitler because he's rounding up folks and putting them in cars and taking them to concentration camps and killing them.
Yeah. Kathleen Miner makes a good point. If Donald Trump could be held for his words and an insurrection, why are Waltz, Fry, and the media not being held to the same standard for their rhetoric and in inflaming this?
Endless folks in Congress saying, whether it's what's his name, the old military guy saying, oh, you can disobey a illegal order, never minding that there have been no illegal orders. A lawmaker apparently doesn't understand the way the law works. But they're saying you must put yourself in front of these people, inject yourself into the fray. I don't understand that. Here's what I want to do. I want to take just a very quick break and acknowledge our folks. And then I'm very, very, it looks like Aaron Reese is joining us from his helicopter. I don't know. I cannot wait to talk to this gentleman. Very, very intrigued. And that's the great thing about this program for us is the endless exposure to great folks. So let's take a quick break. I can make most of it up. Today is Caldo Wednesday. Get into Veracruz for a steaming bowl of caldo de res. That's Spanish for like beef stew. Get in there and enjoy that. You'll have a blast. It is fantastic. Allen's Wrecker Service, stay out of the ditch, but if you end up in one, 578-6300. Went Services for all your electrical needs. White Trash Services for all of your garbage removal.
And to help your local volunteer fire department.
1, 2, or 3 year service agreement gets you 2 years of
locked-in pricing
and $25, $50, or $100 to your local volunteer fire department. Brand us for all your internet needs. Reach out to Commander Cody right here on Facebook. Brand us.
Won't you be our neighbor?
There's our state rep.
Offices 205.
House District 30, AJ Louderback. Good morning, sir. I just want to get to it. Let's get what will surely be our new friend by the time this is over on the air. And there is Aaron Reitz. Good morning. Can you hear us, sir?
I can hear you, and it's Aaron Reitz. If you want to protect your constitutional rights, you got to vote for Aaron Reitz.
Now, can you folks hear him? Because he's very, very faint on my end, and that's on us. So I want to see.
How can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Aaron Reitz here.
We can hear you just fine, Aaron. Waiting to hear some feedback from a listener to make sure that you're going through loud and clear.
Okay.
Anybody? I'm here, Aaron Reitz.
Nobody wants to comment. They're all full of comments all the time. Yes, Jordan. Melissa Hansen with a thumbs up. Appreciate that. Everybody can hear you great. Awesome.
Fantastic. Good. How are you, sir? And welcome to the program.
I'm doing outstanding. I'm thawing out a little bit. There's still ice on the ground. I'm talking to you right now in Travis County, ready to hit the road out to the Harris County area. Got myself a cup of coffee, and we're ready to have another great campaign day.
Awesome. So I need to just start at the beginning. Ash has a patented question, and the question is always this: why are you running for this position now?
Well, look, I'm running for Attorney General because I think that we're in a battle for the soul of our state and our nation. And I know from personal experience that the primary arena in which we are fighting the dark forces of the left is the justice system. Trump understood this. It's what he campaigned on. It's what he won on. And as one of his very first orders of business in November, December 2024, was he brought me to the senior ranks of his Justice Department. And when he did, he said that Aaron Reitz is a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution. Now, on the one hand, that's exactly what we need as our next Attorney General. But on the other hand, I think at a deeper level, there's a reason why he used those words and phrases to describe me. It's because of my record leading legal troops into legal combat to deliver legal victories for the state of Texas and for Texans. We have had a great Attorney General Paxton, for over a decade. He's now pursuing the United States Senate. We need to make sure
Texans need to make sure, our state needs to make sure that as we transition from Paxton to the next AG, we have somebody who's battle tested, ready to go, who has a long record up and down the chain of the justice system, litigating, investigating, suing, defending, appealing, and winning on all the major stuff that we Texans and your listeners care about. And I think that that's me. So that's why I'm running.
Well, my research has shown that much of the backstory on the tremendous volume of times that Ken Paxton sued the Biden administration was actually your work, and that was your role for Mr. Paxton, who, by the way, has been on our program. And and I wanted to get this out there too. I actually do take the time to read a little bit about the folks that we're blessed to have on the program. I want to thank you for your service in Afghanistan. Thank you for being a United States Marine. And I'm a Texas graduate. I'm sure that I'm going to go out on a limb and bet that even though it could be arguably politically divisive, you're a fighting Texas Aggie who happened to go to Texas Law School. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's absolutely right. Look, I'm a fighting Texas Aggie. I bleed maroon. Love my Aggies. I will say you're right. It's a politically tricky issue to navigate. I did go to UT for law school, and I did also marry a Longhorn too. So for the time being, we've got more UT degrees in the Wrights household than we do A&M degrees, but that's okay because I've got 4 kids. They're all going to go to Texas A&M, and at some point we'll have more A&M degrees than we have UT degrees.
Yes, you definitely upgraded the gene pool, but now it's back to the cult. I understand. You're the smartest kid in fish camp. I get that. Tell me about. So, are you in a current role working for the DOJ under? No, not Pam Bondi.
No, not currently. The position I had, I was the presidentially appointed, Senate confirmed head of the Office of Legal Policy at DOJ. So I got nominated in December, went through the full Senate confirmation. When I got confirmed by the U.S. Senate, I'm proud to say that I got precisely 0 Democrat votes. Frankly, I'd be embarrassed if I got any Democrat votes because I would have thought to myself, what in the world did I do in my past to make a lib vote yes on Aaron Wrights? And in fact, when I got confirmed, the senior Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Dick Durbin, he put out a full-blown press release about me, and he said in that press release, Aaron Wrights is a danger to democracy and a menace to the rule of law, which, look, out of the mouth of a Democrat, I take that as a compliment.
Amen. But Dick Durbin's always wrong. I mean, he's wrong all the time. He's on the wrong side of 90-10 issues all the time.
All the time, every time. And so, look, I had a great run for a season at the Justice Department. But when Paxton announced, it became very clear to the White House, to Attorney General Bondi, to my colleagues at DOJ and the various departments in the Trump administration that Trump needed to be able to trust who the next attorney general was. Obviously, he knew Ken, he trusted Ken, and there was a lot of strategic alignment between the Trump administration and the largest red state law firm in the nation, being the Texas Attorney General's office. But as we transitioned, we couldn't miss a beat. We had to have somebody who's a proven fighter in court up and down the chain of the justice system. And after several months of due diligence and prayer and considering what the path to victory would look like, it became clear by the summer of 2025 that, I had to jump in this thing and that I'm ready to go on day one. So I tendered my resignation, which was accepted by the president and the attorney general. And we've been running hard since last summer. I'm currently in private practice. And really, look, whether at the DOJ in private practice or as Paxton's deputy or on the Texas Supreme Court or whatever it may be, I'm the only one in this race with actual experience doing the work of the attorney general. When Paxton endorsed me. Yeah, exactly. And look,
no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. And when Paxton endorsed me to succeed him as the next attorney general, in his endorsement statement, he said that Aaron Wrights is the only qualified candidate in this race. I'm running against 3 other people. It's a quote unquote crowded field that a lot of people are going to be watching over the next several weeks. But there's only one of us in this race that's actually been in legal combat, having led legal troops to deliver legal victories. My other opponents want to talk about, oh, I worked on this bill or that bill. And that's great. I love good legislation. I love your state rep, AJ Louderback. He's a good friend of mine, a great American patriot. But at the end of the day, as soon as the legislature passes a bill and as soon as the governor signs that bill, that's when the real work begins. Because every good bill that we like, and we could name them, what's passed over the past year or so, every single piece of every single one of those bills is being litigated in state and federal court up and down the chain all over the state and nation, right? And so we need an attorney general who's going to go and take those tools and those weapons that the legislature gave us and vindicate them or go on offense or use them as defensive tools. That's what the AG does. And I'm the only one with a record doing that sort of thing.
One of your opponents is running ads that, to me, imply that Donald Trump is in his camp. He's the only one, MAGA, MAGA this, MAGA that. And I just very light reading just shows that's not the case. And it also shows that, that particular individual is just an oil field executive, oil company executive that happened to go to law school, has never been in a courtroom. I find that somewhat just disingenuous enough that I know I'm not voting for that person.
Yeah, it's totally disingenuous. And I think that your sentiments about this particular candidate, we call him Mays middleweight because he's not ready for the fight. Or we call him Mays with an exclamation point at the end, kind of like Jeb of 2015, 2016, because of the low energy, lack of credibility for this position. Yeah, of course. Look, it's campaign season, right, guys? Like everybody is going to Photoshop or do some graphic design to affix their face next to Trump, and everybody's going to try to outcompete them. Oh, I'm Mr. Ultra Mega MAGA. The president loves me. I love the president. And it's a sham in 99% of cases, right? Texans want somebody who has been trusted and vetted by President Trump. They want an ally of President Trump. And at the end of the day, having somebody who has been an ally of President Trump will benefit Texas if you've got strategic alignment between the White House and the Attorney General's office. But my opponent, who, let's not give him too much credit, he's not really an oil and gas executive. He inherited from his daddy a small private oil company comprised of about a half a dozen people that cuts him checks every single month to sustain his River Oaks, Houston lifestyle. And so this is a guy who is totally unqualified for office. He went to law school 16 years ago, immediately inherited his daddy's oil company, has never practiced real law a day in his life, let alone appear in a courtroom. And on top of all that, more damning than any of that lack of credibility is he has spent a fortune of his inherited cash trying to destroy Ken Paxton. Mays middleweight spent nearly $1 million bankrolling Paxton's primary challengers in 2022, bankrolling the House impeachment managers in 2023. He's the single largest donor to the House Republicans who voted to impeach Ken Paxton in 2023. And then on day one of the sham Senate trial in September of 2023, Mays middleweight sided with the Democrats for the sham prosecution to continue. The conservative Republicans in the Senate voted on day one of the trial to dismiss the case. But Mays middleweight and my other opponent, Joan Huffman, who's not even really campaigning at this point, both voted to drag Paxton punitively through the hazing sham process. And that's my opponents right now. It's totally disingenuous. Let's also not forget one of my other opponents who's better well known than most just because of his name ID is Chip Soy. Now, Chip Soy has high name ID just like Satan has high name ID. Catastrophic negatives. Everybody knows who he is, but it's a disaster. Chip Soy said that President Trump ought to be impeached. Chip Soy campaigned around the country in 2024 opposing President Trump for the Republican nomination for president. Chip Soy sided with Mike Pence, Liz Cheney. He betrayed the J6 political prosecutors, those who were on the receiving end of the political persecution. He also was the first elected official to call for Paxton to be removed from office and was the leading national cheerleader for his impeachment and conviction in 2023. If your listeners want somebody who Paxton trusts, it's only Aaron Reitz. My three opponents have all repeatedly betrayed Ken Paxton again and again and again, as well as the president of the United States. You want somebody who the president called a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution? You want somebody who has served in the Trump administration and who's been endorsed by Ken Paxton? It's Aaron Reitz. That's the only choice.
Amen.
Aaron?
I was in the House on the day that they voted to give Attorney General Paxton his back pay. So I was proud to be there that day and watch them debate, not really debate, discuss, and then vote and agree to do it.
Aaron, if
they got beat into submission. They got beat into submission by the great Ken Paxton. And my three opponents were all tucking their tails and running the other way because they tried to take him out and they lost.
If elected, what do you think would be the first case on your desk as Attorney General that you're going to have to get involved in day one?
Yeah, my overarching theme is partnering with the Trump administration to advance the America First law and order agenda. We need strategic alignment between President Trump and the largest red state law firm in the nation. That's the Texas Attorney General's office. Now, that overarching mission is going to manifest itself in several ways. Number one, we're immediately going to begin turning up the investigation and the litigation against these Sharia enclaves all over the state and nation. I'm going to treat the Islamists in Texas like the feds treated the mafia in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We didn't get those guys on murder. We got them on process crimes, financial crimes, tax fraud, money laundering, RICO violations, racketeering, trafficking, human and drug trafficking, all these sorts of things. That's exactly the kind of syndicate that we see here among the radical Islamists in Texas. We're going to smoke them out. We're going to hold them accountable. Secondly, we're also going to go hard against these Soros-funded Big Blue City and Big Blue County district attorneys that are turning our cities into crime-infested hellholes that are become inhospitable for families like mine right here in Travis County, where we live. We're also going to blow the lid off of the Big Blue City, Big Blue County fraud, waste, and abuse and corruption that has run rampant, in particular in Democrat-run counties and cities. But there are, sadly, a lot of red, good old boy networks out in the red counties as well that we need to investigate. We're also going to partner with federal immigration law enforcement to accelerate the identification, arrest, detention, and deportation at a mass scale of all illegal aliens. We're going to get rid of it. And then we're also going to triple down on smoking out the wokeism that is in all of our political subdivisions, in our K through 12 education. We're going to smoke out DEI, ESG, the BLM, 1619 Project, the trans agenda. We're going to smoke them out, investigate them, and we're going to hold them accountable. Now, let me just conclude by saying this. Every single candidate at this point in this race for Attorney General has triangulated their campaign messaging to say virtually the same exact thing. The difference between me and my opponents is even if we give all of your listeners the exact right answer that they love to hear, the difference that I bring to the table is that I am the only one who has actually done it. I'm the only one who has led litigation troops into legal combat to deliver victories at the investigation level, the trial level, and the appellate level, up and down the chain of the justice system in both state and federal courts. And so folks don't have to just wonder what kind of Attorney General I'm going to be. They just have to look at my winning record doing it already. And so I'm going to be the guy that's going to keep his foot on the gas, keep up the fight, go to war, and win for Texas.
Fantastic message. I'm very encouraged to have you on the program. And what do you have going today? You off campaigning?
Yeah, we're off campaigning today. I've got a day that in Harris County and in Montgomery County. And then tomorrow we are going to be in Dallas County. And then on Friday and over the weekend, we're going to be in Smith County, where Tyler is at. So we've got a great blitz. Nobody's campaigning harder than I am. We are going 24/7 on the road, nonstop, and we're having a blast doing it. Our message is resonating with the voters. We've got incredible momentum. We're raising great money, and we are on the path aggressively, energetically to victory on March 3rd.
Amen. Remember when you're in Tyler, that is the home of one Kevin Eltife, who is the chairman of the Board of Regents at the university. So you may want to reach out to Kevin. He's a former state rep up there, and really, really a good guy.
He's a good guy. He'll give me a hard time as an Aggie, especially since I'm wearing a maroon quarter zip.
I see
today.
that.
I noticed the maroon. Today.
It's very aggressive on a Wednesday.
Looks good with the green, though.
Hey, we appreciate you taking the time to come in. You're with an amazingly large group of folks. We cover via a radio network where we are streamed Calhoun, DeWitt, Goliad, Gonzales, Carnes, Atascosa, B, Frio, Jim Hogg. We are live on radio in all of Victoria County, of course. We're live in all those areas. And the feedback that we're getting on the messages over here, just on the Facebook feed alone, are very, very supportive. So you are right. I did notice that everybody, all the Republican candidates, are touting kind of the party line, and yet I can't help but acknowledge that you're the only one that's lived it, and I know what it's like when you've got a figurehead, a powerful individual like Ken, and when you're the guy that it's like, do you want to talk to the guy that does the news conference, or do you want to talk to the guy that does the work? And I feel today like we've talked to the guy that does the work.
And we'll do the news conference as well.
There you go. And don't want to give you a hard time because you're young.
Well, look, I've got a much older hairstyle. Okay, so I fit in with the old guys as well. But look, despite my age, like you said, I've packed in more relevant, fighting, winning legal experience than all of my opponents combined, and it's probably why I've lost all my hair, because I've been doing nothing but fighting in combat for our Constitution, for law, order, and justice. So Aaron Reitz is ready to go. I want folks to visit AaronReitz.com, AaronReitz.com, and follow me on all my socials. Aaron_Reitz, Aaron_Reitz. I'm very active on socials. If folks want to get plugged into the campaign, just message me, send me a DM. I monitor that stuff. My team monitors that stuff. And we're in execution mode between now. Early voting starts February 17th, Election Day, March 3rd. We've got plenty of room. The water's warm. Join the Aaron Reitz campaign, and let's win this thing together.
I wish you nothing but Godspeed, sir. And I tell you what, folks, if you want to send him a check, you can just write your phone number in the memo, and we'll get you a phone call with Aaron Reitz. So, hey,
Amen.
We wish you the best. Be safe on the roads, and
look forward to having you back on the show.
And go get them. Yeah, we'll have you back on.
Likewise, fellas. Thanks so much. Take care. God bless.
You, go get them. I'll even say it, gig them. Go get them.
Hey, I love that. That is a winning interview when we get a Longhorn to say gig them. That's awesome.
Go get
Thanks, guys. Yes, sir. See you guys.
Bye-bye. Aaron
Reitz.
Reitz.
That's Aaron
Reitz
Reitz
for Texas Attorney General.
Fantastic interview and a delightful young man. I tell you what, his website does a really good job of basically, explaining the exact same thing. It's like his message is on point and does not waver. Now, do we need to take another break real quick and mention? Let's do.
Probably so.
I cannot wait to get Allison Fox on, though. Cheswick Furniture, Cheswick and Love make your house a home. Get in today and get some new furniture. And just, I love that kick guest. Get in and get with Bobby Leon and his family. Let them help you.
Allison's in the green room waiting.
Look at that. She's having a frozen margarita. It's a little early, but that's okay. Atzenhofer, the Atzenhofer dealership, a South Texas tradition for more than 100 years. The Atzenhofer dealership, eager to help you have your next vehicle come from them. They can service all makes and models. Reach out to Tommy Taylor and tell him Wade and Carter sent you. Parvita Wellness and the Vita Cafe.
Reminding you to sign up for their Get Healthy Challenge. I hate to call it a weight loss challenge because that's part of it. But they're trying to teach you to become healthier, eat better, live better. And so stop by, see Erica, sign up for the challenge. And her and Spring Taylor will help you turn your unhealthy lifestyle around into one that not only is one that you'll see results, but sustainable for the rest of your life, because that's always a problem with a lot of New Year's resolutions, to lose weight. You start losing weight, then you just can't sustain it. I've been eating Paravita meals for most of the week for the last several years. And
they're fantastic.
And because of that, I've learned to eat properly, eat better, eat healthier.
And you look amazing.
Thank you. And my hair is, still thick
Your hair
and
is
luscious.
Still on point.
So
mane and tail. Mane and tail seems to work for you.
It does. It's a shampoo and a conditioner.
There you go. So now, since politics is sports, the First State Bank of Louise welcomes in Allison Fox.
There she is. Look,
There she is. She's awake. She's alert.
Hi.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Allison Fox has been on the program, Ash, while you were gone. It was a sham bull of a day. I wanted to gloat in the fact that now we're doing high tech. We're going from one important guest to another via Zoom meetings or via StreamYard. And just welcome you in. I know, and our folks know that you are
wrong
running.
one. Darn it.
What did you do wrong?
Nothing. I was trying to.
There
we go.
Let's when in doubt, don't whip it out. The
Let me see if this
Texas
No.
Court of Criminal Appeals. I have to be careful not to say the Texas Criminal Court of Appeals because that would imply that the court could be, doing something illegal.
Well,
So-
I have to quit telling people that I'm a criminal lawyer, so I get it.
Right? Good morning, and same question. Tell folks why you're running for the position you are and why now.
Yeah, so I think Texas deserves good judges with integrity and experience. And at this court, I've been doing appellate law for almost 20 years now. I was a prosecutor in Bexar County, which is San Antonio. In the appellate section, I was a felony prosecutor there. I also led up the conviction integrity unit at Bexar County. I was the director there. And then I've worked inside the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals for 10 years in 2 different capacities. So this is my lifeblood, is criminal appellate law. And I think it's important that we have judges that know the law, that can get it right. We've got victims and public safety and even, unfortunately, innocent people that are depending on it. And so I don't think this is a position for somebody just to jump in for political reasons. This is a position that you have to have a passion for this type of law. And I am that candidate. In fact, I have 3 opponents, and I'm the only one that's actually ever practiced appellate law, which should be disturbing to some people. It should make people ask, why is someone running for this position that's never set foot in a criminal courtroom before? I think that Texas
Seems to be the theme of
deserves
the day.
judges who have this experience.
Yeah,
No, I agree.
I did the
Absolutely.
research as well, and I asked you this last time you were here off the air, but I'm going to ask you on the air. Given that, let's just set aside that on paper you're by far the most qualified candidate for the position. On paper, there's no doubt you've got the experience. You're the only one with the experience. My question to you is, at the end of the day, would Texas be better served? This is more just an opinion. Would Texas be better served if criminal appeals court folks were appointed as opposed to elected?
Yeah, we talked about this, and I've been asked this question before on the campaign trail, and obviously that's how the feds do it, and so they're appointed for life. That's just not how our system is. I like that the voters in Texas hire judges in, especially at this level. I think they are a great, barometer to determine who needs to be in this position and who doesn't. The problem is when you have at this high level, how do you measure it? How do you measure when someone is a good appellate attorney or a good appellate judge? Are you a bad appellate lawyer if you work for the state and you lose everything? That doesn't seem to be the correct way that we should measure things. But I think the public is paying attention to judges more. We rightfully should. We've seen judges making absolutely terrible decisions lately, Republicans and Democrats alike. So yes, I do believe in this great republic that we have, that the people should have a say on who is deciding these cases of the highest importance. I mean, this case deals with life and death. We have an execution scheduled coming up next week. And so when you have cases like that, I think the public, it needs to be transparent. People need to participate in it.
I joke all the time that if you show me an attorney you're always showing me a liberal, even a Republican, because the law begs for liberal interpretation. I think if you're ever in court, you want the most liberal interpretation of the law you can get. But it just seems to me that when you see these egregious rulings by judges that just blow your mind, that put felons back on the streets, that whatever, it does seem that there's a high propensity of those folks being Democrat judges. I know that a judge should not rule based on their own personal political beliefs. They should rule in light of the law.
Right.
But when it seems like something is partisan affected, in my observation, it is most often partisan affected by a Democrat appointee or elected official.
Right. I couldn't agree more. I think some of these terrible and quite frankly, dangerous rulings that some of these liberal judges are making at the trial court level, releasing some of these criminals out onto the streets to commit more violent acts. I think you need people in positions of the appellate law that are experienced, that know the law and can come down on these. You know, we need lawyers starting to mandamus these judges and having appealing coming up to these courts where you have experienced judges that can correct these terrible travesties that are happening.
Is there one case that you just said, okay, that's it, I need to get on that bench and become part of the Court of Criminal Appeals?
Yes, and it's kind of probably not what you guys are thinking. When I was first at the Court of Criminal Appeals, I was in the writ section. There's the way that the court's set up is that they have chambers staff. So there are 9 Republican judges on the Court of Criminal Appeals right now, and they all have their own staff. That's my current role. But previously, I worked in central staff, and everything that gets filed gets sent up to central staff and divided into 3 sections. There's the death squad, there's writs, and there's the petitions for discretionary review. I worked in the writ section. So I actually worked on over 4,000 writs while I was up there at the court for the 5 years that I was up there. The reason I bring this up is because writs are the ones that deal with actual innocence cases. One of the actual innocence cases that I was assigned was that of Greg Kelly, and that is from Williamson County. Greg Kelly was a teenage boy that was falsely accused and convicted and in prison of sexual assault. He was actually staying with a family friend during some hard times that he was suffering with his family. And that family had an in-home daycare, and 2 of those children outcried and said that they were sexually assaulted. And Greg Kelly was actually the one that was targeted, and he was actually innocent of it. And so when I worked on his case, you know, I had only had prosecutorial and I was a defense attorney for a while, but I had never seen such a travesty of justice before on so many different levels. And it was really at that point a turning point for me, realizing that this justice system is not infallible and that you have to have experienced attorneys in these positions as a judge to correct these travesties, whether it's actual innocence or whether it's travesties that occur for victims. The thing is, when I was younger, I was the victim of a violent crime. I'm a survivor of a violent crime, and I did not receive justice for my violent crime. And so I know how important it is to have judges that are experienced and knowledgeable about the law and can do the right thing and protect victims and the innocent alike.
A listener asked, can we have an example in which the current appellate judge let out a criminal that should have not been let out?
Well, I think it's, I know that there was one in Houston recently that made the news, but of course the ones I always think about are, the ones that you hear on the news, the individual that stabbed the young woman on the train. That person apparently, that defendant, a criminal, had been arrested for violent offenses and let go over 20 times. This is just baffling to me. I don't understand why someone with with these violent tendencies are being let out. We recently had, for the person asking the question, I think Texas is ahead of the game on this. We recently had some constitutional amendments that the voters voted on, where bail can actually be denied. I know this is a tricky issue because we have a constitutional right to bail. But I think what we're seeing is these rogue judges they need to be held accountable, and the people are demanding it. And so when the people collectively decide we're going to amend the Constitution and make sure that these people aren't put back on the streets, we're going back to allowing the voters to have a say in their justice system, which I think is so important.
Amen. I've got one for you. I've had the opportunity and the privilege to visit with you off air. And I've already reached out once, but thanks again to Kathleen Leiniger for getting us together. But most of these folks know my kids, and she reminds me a little bit of my Katie, and I say that kindly, but Katie's a nerd, okay? And so here you are, and you're telling our listeners, of which right now there's probably 35 or 40,000 folks listening, and you're telling them appellate court is my life. And I know enough about you to know that there's more to you. Take a moment and tell folks who you are, not what you do, where you're from, tell them about your kids. Just get folks to let them understand who Allison Fox is.
Sure. I don't know if I'm going to help with the nerd situation any. I think it gets nerdier as you peel the layers of the onion. But I'm from Seguin, Texas, originally. My dad was an Air Force, and so we live close to San Antonio. And my dad was actually the son of Russian Jewish immigrants. And so I was raised in a very conservative household. My dad always impressed upon me the importance of our constitutional rights. And he said, Allie, nobody in this world has the rights that we have, especially the right to practice the freedom of our choice. And so having a father in a home like that just really shaped who I am as a person, and realized these God-given rights are something that we need to fight for. And after I graduated from Seguin, I went to UT. So the better of the candidates today. Sorry, Aaron. Maybe better luck next year. But I went to UT and I actually studied chemistry. So here we go, back on the nerd train.
Exciting world.
I thought I wanted to do R&D. I wanted to do research and development. I thought that was just what I was very interested in. And then I took organic chemistry and realized, yeah, I don't really know about this. Finished up with chemistry and government. Like I said, I've always been really interested in government. And so after I graduated, I actually went and worked for a research and development lab in Bryan College Station area. And it was there that I realized that I had a passion for writing, because I worked in the grants and proposals department for a while, and met with a patent attorney. And he said, Allie, you're doing all the work here. I'm charging $350 to this company. You need to go to law school and be a patent attorney. And I thought, I need to go to law school and be a patent attorney and make me some good money so I can fly in helicopters like Aaron Wrights one day. But I went to law school. After my first year of law school, I got an internship at the Bexar County DA's office, and the rest is history. And so I always joke around with my sweet mom, Patty Fox, who has encouraged me this whole way. And she said, Allie, first, you're around anthrax and now criminals, can't you pick something safe?
As long as you weren't in that Wuhan lab, we can support it. Yeah, we're good.
Right. I know. It was during COVID that my husband, who I met in law school, we actually joked around about that. Like, my life would be very different right now if I had continued
absolutely.
on that
as
track.
long as you're not making bat stew for the kids.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, but maybe if there had been a sane person in there, we wouldn't have had the fear mongering that we ended up having for 5+ years. But anyway, I actually met my husband, Grady Dahlberg, in law school at St. Mary's. Grady is a San Antonio boy. He's got a great family there. And we've kind of moved all over Central Texas in pursuit of our goals and dreams. We have 5 children. I have a 16-year-old, almost a 15-year-old, 10, 8, and 6. We are a very active Catholic family. We live in Taylor.
We figured that out about kid number 5.
What's that?
We're like, oh yeah, they're Catholic. They got 5 kids.
Yeah,
Sure.
people are like, you're either Catholic or Mormon, and so we're
And
Catholic.
with 5 kids, you have no choice but to be active.
Right. Active is an understatement.
Right. And my husband,
Amen.
I have spent the last 8 years. My husband wasn't very happy. He didn't feel very fulfilled in the law. He didn't feel like he was giving what he had. He just felt like he had more that he had to give. And so for the past 8 years, I put him through his master's and doctoral program. And he is now a doctor of theology and spirituality. And couldn't be prouder of him. But now that he's finished, it's now on to my turn to pursue my dream, and that is the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals.
Well, we're excited. You're delightful to visit with, and just again, folks, do research on the candidates. Tell folks your website.
Sure, it's www.foxforjudge.com.
I did that on purpose, by the way. I wanted to catch you like mid-sip, that I could trip you up. I'm sorry. Tell us again. I interrupted.
It's foxforjudge.com.
Pretty basic.
Pretty
That'll
basic,
work.
Pretty easy. Yep.
Foxforjudge.com.
Yes, I've been telling everybody that, early voting starts February 17th. You go in there and you check the box for Fox.
I like
There
that.
you go. I like that.
I like that.
Got to get registered to vote, by February 1st, I believe?
Yeah, so you need to register to
correct.
vote today, tomorrow, or Friday, because the 1st is, I guess, Monday, and I wouldn't push
Sunday?
it.
Yeah, I think
Sunday?
it's Sunday.
Yeah, don't push it.
No.
If
Yes.
by the way, if you haven't registered to vote, then you're very fortunate to have 2 candidates to learn about today. So, yes, I hope if you haven't registered to vote that Allison Fox spurs you to vote and that you do that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Looking to see if we have any questions from any listeners. Don't see anything. A little bit of advice, but we won't read that one on the air for you because it
Right.
doesn't pertain
No,
to
it
you.
doesn't pertain to you, but it's good advice.
It's good advice.
Yeah, we have a fairly diverse group of folks. I mean, I think you're hearing people from all walks of life, and I would think that at this election, the Court of Criminal Appeals, this could be a place that a Democrat could feel comfortable voting across party lines based on merit. Somebody who has a background and a history with the court, somebody who's worked in that world and done the paperwork, that understand. I know there's mounds and mounds of paperwork associated with every trial, but to just say I'm going to vote for the Democrat candidate for the Court of Appeals may not be the wisest decision. I think you have to vote for the person most qualified. And most people say, I vote for the most qualified candidate. If that's the case, I personally believe you should win in a landslide.
Well, and it's tough that we have these races where we have to run as Republicans and Democrats. And so, I think that can be a tricky situation because, I saw a comment from one of your listeners saying politics should stay out of the judicial system. And we make it where it can't. And I do think that's a bit unfortunate. And so there are 4 of us in the primary. We're all trying to out conservative each other as far as the primary is concerned. But in these judicial benches, what really matters is knowing the law and this experience. We're talking about people's lives. We're talking about victims. And, quite frankly, I don't know if I talked about this with you last time, but there is a backlog at the court. It used to be whenever a case was filed, from filing to opinion, it was about 100 days. That is now 500 days. And I am proud to say, since I have been there, the judge that I've worked for, we have a 0 backlog chambers. That is what I plan to do when I get on the court. But I think voters hiring someone who has absolutely zero appellate experience and is going to have to learn on the job, it's just going to make the backlog worse. You're denying justice to victims. You're going to have people out there wondering if they're going to have to face their accuser again in court. And then you also have innocent people sitting there waiting every Wednesday for the hand down to come out to see if they're going to get relief. And be able to move on with their lives. And so this is important. This does cross party lines.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is not a election or a position where you can elect somebody to learn the job on the fly or first time around. I think we need somebody. You need somebody with experience in this role, and so I appreciate the. Thousands of cases that you've sat on and been a part of. I think speaks volumes, literally and figuratively. You talked about the backlog. How would you try to influence that backlog and shorten those delays up?
Right. Certainly. I know that when new judges come onto the court, usually the judges that are leaving, they go off the draw. And so those opinions are getting assigned to other chambers. So those chambers are going to kind of back up. My hope is that when I come on January 1st, I just tell all my colleagues, give me what you got. I'm ready to go on day one. I'm ready to work on these cases. I have the fortunate opportunity of knowing these cases because I'm already there. And so I won't even have to really spend a lot of time digging into them because I'm already looking at them. And so I think this will be a great way for me to help the efficiency of the court. I'm an efficient person in general. I mean, to have 5 children and put my husband through school and still work a full-time job at a Supreme Court. I think that shows that I can get the job done. That's not really something I'm worried about, and voters don't need to worry about that either.
Absolutely. Allison, we're almost out of time. Really appreciate your time this morning, and good luck on the campaign. Come back and visit us again, will you?
Please. Once elected, we basically require that you come back.
Absolutely. I'll come in person so that we can get it done next time.
And you're welcome to come back between now and the actual election, anytime you're in the area.
Thank you, guys.
My reasoning tells me that the paper cup with the sleeve on it was acquired in the lobby of a hotel. Where
Correct.
Are you today?
I'm in Willis, Texas today. So Conroe, Woodlands area. And I'm actually, as soon as this is over, going to jump in my car and drive to Austin to go into the office today. So.
Well, there you go. God bless. Be safe.
Travel safe.
Thanks for the time with us. And we wish you nothing but the best in the election process. Go get them.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
Thank you very much.
Allison Fox.
Allison Fox, fox4judge.com. You can check in. What a great show. I love it at the end of that StreamYard. Is that what it's called? StreamYard?
Yeah.
It says kick guest, which I guess is probably radio speak.
Well, because there's 2 options. You can either kick them from the studio or ban them, and we don't want to ban them.
We don't want to ban them. No, we don't ban anybody. No. We let everybody speak. I'm overwhelmed. What a great program.
2 good candidates to vote for this primary season. And that our goal has always been to try to educate and inform our voters.
You think it was good because there was less of us?
Maybe.
Could be.
Yeah.
Aaron Wrights did a great job. He's certainly
had no problem correcting you on your mispronunciation of his name.
Right. No, and shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
But I before E except after C.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
German pronunciation.
Wrights. Yes. Reitz. Aaron Wrights. Super nice young man. He's only like 38 or 9 years old.
I think.
Very accomplished, Marine veteran, Afghanistan veteran. Awesome. Very enjoyable. And of course, Allison Fox has been here before. Great program.
Yep. Real quick, Justice Department yesterday said that they will release the Epstein-related files soon. Didn't give a date.
What a clown show. I'm at the point now where I have to say,
do I care?
I don't care. and if there was something damning in there about Donald Trump, they're going to redact it anyway. I mean, you got to be honest, right? All of this has probably been delayed, Ash, because the Trump camp has been negotiating with the Biden-Obama camp to make sure that nobody gets buried. Do you agree?
I don't think anybody's going to get buried by any I don't know that there's really going to be any stunning revelations out of these files, because if there were, the Biden administration would have released those.
Yeah.
And if there were, the Trump administration would have already released them.
Ryan Small says, we're all overwhelmed with this being a great program. That's true.
And real quick tonight, if you're looking for something to do, VISD Town Hall, 6 o'clock, Victoria Fine Arts Center.
BYOB.
Yep. A&M Victoria Jaguars baseball tonight, 5 o'clock at Riverside, taking on Houston Tillotson. Dress warm, might be a little chilly, but as long as the sun's up, going to be a nice day for ball.
Tammy Williams with a statement of truth. If Trump were in the Epstein files, they would have been released during the election. I have no doubt.
Yeah,
I have no doubt that if Trump were involved, they would have found a way to smear him.
Yeah, because they would have known that would have been their key to greater in the election for Trump.
Absolutely. Top of the hour. Love to all. Vote smart. I liked Aaron Wrights. I really like Allison Fox. I wish you all a great day. Be safe and stay warm.
See you all tomorrow. Bye, folks.